Hi and welcome to Steam Flow, the ultimate channel for all things Steam. I'm your host Sunwind, and today we're taking a look at some of my favorite games on the Steam Deck that have been heavily discounted in this winter sale 2024. If you've got a Steam Deck and you're looking for the best deals, this is it. Let's jump right in. At 60% off for €23.59, No Man's Sky delivers infinite exploration with stunning visuals. On the OLED, it runs pretty smooth between 50 and 60 FPS on medium settings with 2 or 3 hours of battery life. It has full controller support and makes flying and exploring a breeze on the deck. Next is Persona 3 Reload, 40% off at €41.99. This remastered version of the JRPG classic runs beautifully on the Steam Deck, offering a solid 60 FPS at high settings, and battery life sits around 5 hours on the OLED, and it does have controller support. It is pretty seamless. With all the complex menus and turn-based combat, it makes it feel natural. It's a must-have for any fan of the Persona series. Now, Hogwarts Legacy is 75% off, coming in at just €14.99. It's no surprise that this game runs great on the Steam Deck with up to 45 FPS even on high settings. It gives you a pretty magical experience being able to play this game on a handheld. You can expect around 4 hours of battery life on the OLED. It does feature full controller support and it feels pretty nice to play it on the Steam Deck. By the way, did you know that 98% of you watching this video aren't subscribed to the channel? Come on, you can't let the 2% have all the fun. Hit that subscribe button, join the squad. It's free and you'll get more Steam gaming content than your Steam library can handle, I guarantee that. Up next we have Monster Hunter World, 67% off at €9.89. The action-packed RPG runs at steady 40 to 50 FPS on medium settings, offering a solid experience for hunters on the go. I think I originally played the Monster Hunter game on my PSP, so I always associate this game with being able to play it on the go, so this is perfect. The battery life is around 5 hours on the OLED, and again, the game features full controller support, making action feel smooth whether you're battling giant monsters or crafting new gear. By the way, most of the games that I feature here are gonna have full controller support or they will be controller friendly. Up next we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. It's 60% off at €17.99. If you are into fast-paced, nostalgic skating action, this one's a blast on the Steam Deck. It runs beautifully with the remaster and it runs at 60 FPS with no issues. You can expect about 5 to 6 hours of battery life on the OLED. The controls are pretty much perfectly mapped on the Steam Deck layout and it's gonna feel like it did back in the early 2000s. Now, God of War Ragnarök is 20% off at €47.99. Now that's a bit pricey and it is a bit of a demanding title, but the Steam Deck handles it quite well. I recently tested it and it features frame generation, which actually runs fantastic on this game with minimal input latency. You can get up to 60 FPS even on medium settings by turning frame generation on. So you'll get around 3 to 4 hours of battery life on the OLED, and again, controller support. That's a given. It's a PlayStation game, so it's gonna feel great playing it with a controller. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is 55% off at €26.99, and after recent updates, it runs surprisingly well on the Steam Deck, offering 30 FPS at medium settings stable, or if you like to experiment, you can even get up to 60 FPS with FSR 3.1 at some scenarios. It's not really stable, so I think the sweet spot is somewhere between 40 and 50. On the OLED model, it will give you around 4 hours of battery life. Now this is a first-person shooter game. Playing on the Steam Deck controls will take some time to get used to, but nevertheless I think it feels pretty great playing it with a controller. Now Firewatch is an absolute steal at 90% off for just $1.95. This is a narrative-driven adventure. It runs at 60 FPS on the Steam Deck with no issues, and you can get around 6 hours of battery life on the OLED, which is plenty enough to actually finish the game. Next we've got Balatro on sale, just 10% off, but it goes for €12.59, and this roguelite card puzzle game runs smoothly at 60 FPS or even 90 FPS on the OLED. Battery life is around 6 hours with 60 FPS, but you can push that up to 8 hours if you lower the FPS down, and honestly you don't need much FPS for this game. Dave the Diver is 33% off for €13.39. This quirky adventure game runs perfectly on the deck at 60 FPS with 5 to 6 hours of battery life. The controls are easy to pick up. It's a fun experience whether you're diving for seafood or managing your sushi restaurant. I think it's pretty great on the Steam Deck. While not originally available on Steam, Ghost of Tsushima released earlier this year and it's actually running fantastic on the Steam Deck. It runs great at up to 50 FPS with battery life lasting around 3.5 hours on the OLED. The controls feel intuitive, same as Ragnarök. It's a PlayStation game and it feels pretty natural to play it on the controller. Pretty good experience on the Steam Deck. Hades 2 is one of the more exciting releases this year. It's 10% off at €26 and it runs at smooth 60 FPS or even 90 FPS on the OLED on medium settings, with up to 5 hours of battery life on the OLED. The controller support is flawless, with the fast-paced action feeling responsive and tight, making it a perfect fit for the Steam Deck. Now, Vampire Survivors is a steal at €349 with 30% discount. It runs flawlessly on the Steam Deck, hitting a solid 60 FPS with minimal battery drain, around 7 hours on the OLED. Now, this game does get a bit harder to run the more you play it, but it will stay pretty stable on the Steam Deck. Again, this game features controller support. It's simple, but it's effective, allowing you to focus on the endless swarms of enemies you need to defeat. Stardew Valley, I can't go without it. It's a fan favorite, now 40% off at €839. It runs at 60 FPS on the Steam Deck, with battery life lasting up to 7 hours on the OLED. Now, the game was not originally designed to be played with a controller, but the controls actually feel pretty intuitive on the Steam Deck. You might have to spend some time setting them up, but when you do, managing your farm on the go is gonna be the new norm and you won't be able to put this game down. My final game that I want to recommend that I spent a lot of time playing on the Steam Deck is actually Titanfall 2. It's 90% off at just €299. Now, this is a first-person shooter that surprisingly feels pretty good to play with a controller. It runs at smooth 60 FPS on the Steam Deck, even up to high settings, and it will last for about 4 to 5 hours on the OLED. The controls are responsive, they feel great. I think there is some aim assist, which explains why I am so good at the game, but this is a classic. I would always recommend playing or checking out Titanfall 2. And on the Steam Deck, it's a great pick. So these are my top picks from the Steam Winter Sale 2024, but I want to hear from you. What games did you pick up and which ones are your favorite to enjoy on your Steam Deck? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.